Alright, welcome back to another stream. Just get right into it. We are doing some more speedruns. Specifically, Artificer 40%. It's been the category I've been attempting the past few streams. And it's quite RNG. A lot of scavengers that you have to deal with. Getting a vulture mask at the beginning is quite difficult to do consistently. And especially the very end of the run is extremely difficult and inconsistent. So hope for today is that I can just get enough good attempts in so that I can get lucky at least for one of those attempts. Excuse me, green lizard. So this is where I get a vulture mask. Excuse me, green lizard. I've never been killed by the cyan before, but as long as there's yeah, it's not over yet. Looks like this, okay, well, no vulture mask, no scavenger. There is a very small possibility I could have salvaged that somehow. Who knows? But that room is so chaotic that often a vulture will lose their mask in that room, so if you have the scavenger, you can just grab the mask there. But it's not consistent, you shouldn't rely on it for runs. But that red centipede did kill a few vultures, so I could have tried to grab a vulture mask, but it's quite hard to do that. Trying to lineage a strawberry lizard. You know, actually the first time I saw a strawberry lizard, it was from lineage. I was playing as Hunter in expedition mode. I was just hanging out in industrial for a bit, and I saw a strawberry lizard. I was like, hey, that's a new lizard, because that was the first time I had seen it, and I get to even play saying it. And I thought that it meant that strawberry lizard. Oh great! I thought I threw a spear. That was a king vulture anyway. Yeah, I imagine there's a few locations where strawberry lizards could show up through lineage. But it actually wasn't that long. It must have been the first cycle after I killed a lizard there, or maybe a lizard died naturally and then lineage and I didn't even have anything to do with it. Only place Gourmand can find a strawberries in outskirts. So I suppose it's different for the other characters. So for Hunter, there's one in industrial. You have to get credit for the kill. Well, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I definitely remember seeing a strawberry lizard. Maybe it was a lizard that moved quite a distance away from the den. So it moved to the start of the, you know how there's usually a blue lizard that you'll see at the beginning of industrial if you enter it from outskirts? That might have been the lizard at lineage. I guess you can check the spawns. But if that lizard decided to come down and I killed it and then stayed in a shelter, then it would have lineage, because it was kind of close to the entrance of outskirts, in one of those towers. I don't like this, that there's another vulture. Come on. Okay, we have something. We have a red centipede, that's what we have. Sometimes the scavenger you're holding... Oh, come on, do you really... This is how it works? I didn't do anything. Or are they trying to throw the scavenger I'm holding? Hello? Okay, that's really annoying. I didn't even know that could happen. I see that you posted some messages in the chat, but I cannot read them for a little bit. I'll see if I can read them when I get to the gate. Oh, they're still mad at me? Oh no, I'm Artificer. Really? That's how the run. Okay. That's literally never happened before. I don't know if they were mad at the scavenger I was holding. Or me. Like, I was like miscredited as the one who attacked the garbage worms. So there's a 30% chance of cyan lineages. So I must have like just killed the cyan as I entered the region. That's interesting. But I didn't even realize it was lineage at first. I just kind of thought that it was one of the natural spawns. So when people would talk about strawberry lizards and say, oh, it's a lizard exclusive to the Saints campaign, I was like, no, I've seen one in the Hunters. But you can see all sorts of different types of creatures with lineaging. Greetings. Hello. Welcome to the stream. It's been a while since I've seen you in the I didn't get the mask. Okay, attack the other scavenger, thank you. Or the other vulture, but I don't have a scavenger. Not a fan of the start of this run. In the ideal scenario, you get to that room, spear or like stun a vulture to get its mask, and then continue on with the scavenger. But what usually happens is, well, I'm not very consistent at getting the mask, so I usually make an explosive spear, but then you have to grab the mask quickly, and the vulture might not even die from it. Took a bit of a break from Rain World. That's fair. That's a pretty low karma. Sometimes a king vulture shows up and they don't even die instantly from an explosive spear. And of course, they're just more dangerous. Or multiple vultures show up, which is usually what happens. I'm surprised that didn't make them drop the mask. So there's a small chance they release scavengers in this room, but after that, there's no guarantees. I really wish there was an alternative way to get a scavenger. I suppose there's like over here. Let's just like create a new route. Right now. Okay. There's usually scavengers around this area, right? I'm not very familiar with garbage wastes, so I'm basically just running around. It's probably a lot slower too, even if I do find a scavenger. Yeah, where even am I? There's nothing down here. Garbage waste is successfully dropped to your least favorite region. I don't know if that's my least favorite. There's situations, if you're not playing Hunter or let's look at with Hunter spawns, and you have good scavenger reputation, then it's an alright region. In every other situation, I don't like it. Well, I usually try to have good scavenger reputation, but I usually don't even go through garbage wastes if it's a decent option, because I always prefer shaded. And even as like the Hunter spawn characters, shaded is like not that much worse. Like maybe there's some like spitter spiders. Extremely like rarely there will be a Miros vulture in like a single room. But what else would you go to garbage waste for? I suppose if you want to, but like getting from shoreline, if you're in shoreline, you probably want to get moon. Oh, and of course now the scavengers show that. That's a very interesting looking scavenger. Well, it's actually kind of nice because that means I have a second chance of getting. Well, that's not a very good start. We don't have enough karma. But if a vulture wants to show up, now is a good time. That's on the wrong side, and that's also a king vulture, and they stole my. Why does everything have to go wrong in this area? Enemy spam. Any area that has a lot of scion lizards for no reason, it's kind of annoying to me. You know, sometimes there's areas where there's like a handful of scion lizards, like two maybe. I think 2 scion lizards within like a region of, or within an area of like a few rooms, that's fine. But when there's like 5 scion lizards in a single room, that's like way too much. It's especially worse in garbage waste when there's so much space for them to move around and lots of like water filled rooms that are hard to move through quickly. It's not as bad as Artificer with the double jumps, and I always use a mask in this area, so it's not that big of a problem. When I went through this area as Spearmaster with the pearl, it was kind of awful. I was like, well, I better explore all the, like, cause this was like the first time I was playing Spearmaster. Like, I better explore all the new regions, so I should go to garbage waste to see what it looks like in the past. But I also had the pearl. And here's a little tip: if you want to have fun with playing Spearmaster, don't get the pearl. You can either do the whole pearl quest, and then go explore the world, or do everything you want to do and then do the pearl app to end it, you know? I really would like to grab the mask right here. Nice jump there. No, okay. When he was sticking his head up, that was my opportunity to grab it, but I don't even know if he was dead. You should be able to grab them if they're still alive anyway. Yeah, train's annoying to navigate. Salt bumpy, you can't do like mace slides. You can't roll decently. Second passage. Yeah, I mean that's an option. If you want to just use passages to bring the pearl around, do that. A lot of people who are going to play Spear Master like aren't even gonna know that that's an option, or if they do know it's an option, they're gonna forget it by the time they get to Spear Master. But like going through garbage weights as Rivulet or as Saint, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, okay, there's sometimes a few like Miros Vultures. That's not great. I don't think they're as bad since you have more mobility and there aren't as many awful creatures. And I think it's like Survivor. It's like pretty good. I want to grab your mask. And then when you do grab it, make sure that you get stuck in the floor. Okay, we're finally moving once again. Miros Vultures. I mean, you can just say Miros Vultures in any area as your least favorite part of it, and it makes sense, you know. That's understandable. He is moving, goodness. The only areas where Miros Vultures are like used well is when there's like a lot of areas to hide from them. If you're just out in like an open area and there's a chance that a Miros Vulture will show up, then it's kind of awful. Like, I understand that you maybe kind of, like, from a game design perspective, they are something to be feared and to avoid. Okay, so then you should never encourage the player to try to fight them. And you should always give the player an opportunity to hide from them. Because, you know, that can be useful. That can be like a good part of a game, to like something that's like extremely dangerous and scary that you just try to avoid. I think that would fit for Rain World. But then you're just put into areas where just like there's nothing to hide, there's nowhere to hide, and just like a ton of Miros Vultures show up, and they can kill you extremely quickly. Since they don't have the wind-up time that regular vultures do, they can just swoop down and kill you. And it's areas in that like that where it's not great at all. And they're especially awful in Rubicon. There's an area about halfway through Rubicon where these basically just a long flat stretch of land they have to run across. And there's a bunch of Miros Vultures there. Like, have fun. I know that you have the Ascension ability, but the time that it takes to stand still and like charge it up is just about enough time for a Miros Vulture to show up and kill you. Especially since you're standing still when you're doing that, so. Don't be a problem. I could have just jumped up from the ledge there. All right. Good luck to all of you. Thing with that drop leg. I thought that was a scavenger for a second. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I made it past garbage waste, so this has potential. And every time that I say that, like, oh, the only hard part of the run is the beginning and the end, I find some way to die in the middle. Or to lose the run. Because any of these creatures can just, like, grab the scavenger. Or you can run into scavengers. Kind that aren't dead and that want to kill you. Should've done that diagonally. So I need to... Something that I was not expecting on my last attempts was that the cycle timer would actually be a problem. You sometimes don't have enough time to make it to the wall. I think I have enough time this cycle. But it's a little bit of unfortunate RNG. Excuse me. Now I'm making mistakes. If you're not going for a crazy fast time, take a shelter if you don't have enough time this cycle. If you want to try the speedrun, good luck. Oh, come on. I really hate how I'm dead. That's what I hate. I should, maybe I should always take the top route there if there's going to be the risk of drop wigs, but you notice that they're way better at grabbing the scavenger from you rather than just actually hitting you. And both options are not good, but if you can avoid them normally, then even then they might grab the scavenger. But then trying to do a stun to make them drop the scavenger makes me drop the masks. So now I have two things I have to worry about picking up, plus the drop hook that's still alive. It's like great, from great to horrible in 3 seconds. Yeah, that's this game. But maybe I should always take the top route in that room to just avoid the risk of drop wigs completely. Oh, welcome to the stream. Thank you for that. The unfortunate part about losing a run is just having to do garbage waste again. Vulture immediately. Just kidding, 2 vultures. It's so hard to grab their masks. I don't know how people do it. I've seen it in some runs. Now red lizard is here. If you want to get the mask for me, I wouldn't mind. You know what actually I'm gonna try now? I think that vulture might be dead, but it's kind of in an awful position to try to grab the mask. And now there's a red lizard here. Hello? Okay, not a fast start, but I guess I'll have to take it. It's not really about the start of the run. I mean, of course, having a good start does help, but it's around the end where there's a lot of opportunities to save time. I never like it when there's a drop hook right there. Okay, I'm surprised that actually worked out because I had never gone on the right side of that room. I hate when you like get into that pattern of like falling off the pole when you climb up to the top of it. I don't know why that happens. Hello, welcome to the stream. Not get stuck there. See, I think the goal for this part of the run is to get here in about 3 minutes. So I probably did spend about 20 minutes not getting a vulture mask. It would have been better if the red lizard didn't show up. Not really happy with that part of the run, or this run specifically, because I can't climb with that pole consistently for whatever reason. That's probably the cleanest I've ever done that run. Fall down. That works. Usually if you're moving fast enough like that, you're pretty safe. No, you're not really safe at all. I took a big risk there, but it worked. I guess it depends on the skill of the scavengers. They're particularly good. A scavenger that's really good at throwing spears might hit you in that scenario, if they don't have enough time to react to your movement. Okay, I don't usually struggle there. I don't like this red lizard spot. Yeah, try to bait him over. I should have just waited for him to pass. Well, they actually got out of that tunnel quite quickly. It's a little scary that lizards have the potential to move that fast, like when they're running away from vultures or when it's about to rain. I should really be looking out for topics more. But lizards do have the potential to move that quickly. It's just that they don't use it most of the time. Just keep that in mind. They're actually not always going as fast as possible. Potentially holding back their full power. I'm only using 10% of my full power. Ooh, scavengers. My favorite feature in this game. And multiple drop bugs. Oh wow, he was in attack mode. And a spitter spider. As long as you don't snipe me from across the room. Make sure to check for a dropping in this room. Yeah, we're just gonna hang out up here. Of course there aren't any dropbugs this time, but I guess I'll get used to that strat. Usually you kind of learn where the you kind of learn where the dropbugs are most likely to be. But there's so many in this area, and just for Artificer in general, that you can't really learn where they're going to be, because they could be anywhere. And there can be multiple, too. Actually, I'm just going to go through this pipe. That was lucky, what, getting past the elite? Pretty souvenir, a spear. Would have been cool if he threw an electric spear, and I get to use it in this area. So I'm already good on food. I guess it is kind of nice to start with the spear, but I probably would have picked one up in the next room anyway. Go down. Like, there's a spear right there. Probably would be fast to go left side, but that's where Dropper likes to hang out. There's the blue lizard that always falls there. I was wondering where they were. Actually, some movement that I learned there, but then I messed it up, so you guys won't even get to see it. I'm not a fan of this room. If you don't have a vulture mask, it's kind of awful. Not kind of awful, it is awful. And, oh, there's the lizard there and a king vulture. I'm good on food. Oops. I don't really like the sounds that I'm hearing right now. Maybe we don't need to go that way. Yep. Here they are. I can eat that. Now there's a white lizard right there that might block the exit. Okay, that feels kind of lucky. I actually made it through that. That was not very fast, but it worked, so I guess we'll keep going. Now is the not fun part of the run. There's lots of scavengers. Yeah, I think it would actually be better if there were always scavengers. But the fact that it's only a chance that scavengers show up, it kind of like, you know, it feels like you kind of want to just do runs until you get one that's lucky enough where scavengers don't show up. But the fact that there's a chance that they might show up means that you have to check every time and be careful in that whole room. Don't have a spear and I'm not a fan of that. Well, that's not a good sign. Goodness. Is he still alive? Where's they are? There's another. I think it's going into that room. Sorry, man. Actually, not sorry at all. And then past this point, I don't think there can be any scavengers. Unless there's one in this gate. Although I've never seen that happen. Not yet. Suppose there's always a possibility. Bull or the Scav King? I think the toll is harder. Because I have found a somewhat consistent strategy to defeat the king. But nothing really for the toll bot before it. And I feel like all the times that I do get past the toll successfully, it's because I got lucky and there just weren't as many scavengers. Or I happened to pick up a grenade in the middle. Or it also depends on the skill level of the scavengers, because that's also randomized. So you might just end up fighting a incredibly skilled scavenger who parries all of your spears. Or they snipe you across the room. Or like an elite scavenger. Oops. I think I was holding up there. Excuse me. I forget how to climb a pole for 2 seconds. So yeah, just keep in mind that if I do get to the end of the run, there's about a 40% chance. No, like 40% chance I actually make it to the end. But I mean, I've already had more good like starts to attempts than last time, I think. Wiring back at the wall. So the strategy is to we need to see pebbles in order for this gate to open. So we go up the wall over to pebbles to see them, and then we exit out of the game. So we return to the last shelter we stayed at, which is the one at the top of the wall, and so that we can then come back here a lot faster to get into this gate. It also means that I can keep the vulture mask with me, without having to carry it while I'm fighting the scavengers, which might make things more difficult. Although I didn't really make use of a second item. So yeah, welcome to the hardest part of the run. Maybe not yet. I don't know if I'd call this the hardest part, but eventually in Metropolis it gets a lot worse. And I'm not a fan of this already. Goodness, that almost ended the run right there. If that spear hit. Okay, why are there so many? Why are there so many scavengers? I usually don't see that many in the beginning here. When I do practice attempts, I did some recently. I started from that first shelter at the beginning of Metropolis. So maybe I'm gonna see different spawns now that it's, you know, it's taken a little bit for me to get to this point. Why am I holding a rock? This is scary. Oh, that's not a scavenger. That's just a. Okay, I was actually kind of scared by that too. He's so loud. I understand the stress of watching someone do something good, thinking that they might mess up at any point. This room is particularly annoying. Of course, there's scavengers too. Oh, come on. And he picked up the karma flower. I'm seeing way more scavengers than usual. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, I thought I picked up the spear. No, I picked up the scavenger who was holding the spear. Of course, there has to be 3 vultures in this room. Surprised there were no king vultures. These... Okay. So I have to explain, these grapple worms can be time loss, and then they were, so... But it's even worse if they grab onto you. It means that you have to grab them and then make them let go of you. I'm somewhat scared that one of these scavengers is going to have like a super fast reaction time. They're immediately going to throw a spear at me the moment I drop down onto them. That usually doesn't happen. So there's a lot of drop wigs in the next few rooms that you have to look out for. That I have to look out for. You guys don't have to worry. Especially right when you enter this room. It could be a scavenger or a vulture. Not a vulture. Actually, there can be both of those, but I meant a drop wig right above the exit of that pipe. Just kidding. They're actually right here. Oh wow. Don't have any food left if I want to make more explosives. I hate that. And that's it. Unfortunately. So close? Not really. That wasn't really close. Like, that's kind of what we're all expecting to happen, right? I wouldn't be surprised if I died to that room or the Scav King like a few times this stream. If we actually get there. I think I actually did manage to kill one of those scavengers. It's just that there were 2 scavengers. And the second one killed me. Maybe if I happened to have picked up a grenade at some point, I would have been able to deal with them better. I'll keep grabbing its head. I hate when the leaf lizard shows up and you have to fight them. Is a green lizard gonna come over here? I don't like that either. They like to steal your scavenger. Same with the red lizard. Honestly, what's so that that run wasn't that good though. Like we made it to the end, or close to the end, right? But there were a lot of things that slowed me down up to that point. Mostly just like a bunch of scavengers. And I usually did not see that many scavengers. Like obviously you're gonna expect to see like a few groups of them at a few points throughout the run, but not like in every single room, which is what it kind of was like at the end there. Why do you always gotta get stuck in the corner? That's the mask. I keep accidentally, cause I'm trying to jump and grab at the same time, so explosive jump or parry, and I lose a bunch of stamina. I don't like you. I don't like you either. Excuse me? Okay, I'm very surprised I'm alive, but I dropped the vulture mask. Man, if I didn't just like drop the scavenger for no reason. I guess I kind of get stuck on that ledge there. Slightly blue scavenger. I would like a second vulture. Ooh. Yeah, I suppose that works out. This is a much better start. Wow, they really hit me there. Like, you leave the room that has 2 leaf lizards in it into the room that has another 2 leaf lizards in it. Okay, just messed up that jump there. Okay, before 3 minutes, getting to this point. That actually garbage waste isn't that bad once you get past like the first 3 rooms. There's, you know, there's plenty of places where you can lose your run past garbage wastes. Even before Metropolis. It's like, what's the most dangerous thing there? Like a drop wig? That's like pretty much it. And I have lost a decent amount of runs to that drop wig. Don't harpoon me. But I've also lost runs to like random creatures in Industrial and Chimney, right? It's just that the very start is not consistent. I'm making it worse for myself by getting the Vulture Mask. But then it makes the rest of the run actually possible. Otherwise, then they would be a problem. Excuse me. Dropper. Okay, I was actually a little bit worried that the Dropper might try to follow me while waiting for the red lizard. Luckily not. Decent pace and plenty of time in the cycle. Funny that threat music always plays in that room because of the dead scavenger. It's definitely very dangerous. Hello, Vulture. I suppose I've never had problems with the spitter spiders, so that's something that I might have to worry about. That was a elite scavenger. Make sure that you look out for the... Watch out. Okay, no drop wig, but something also very annoying. Like if it went into that pipe. Thank you. I really don't like that, so I'm just gonna go over here. It's about the worst spot for a drop wig to be. He might spring back to life. I've just been taking it for like a few minutes at this point. Waiting for the perfect opportunity to pick up a spear when I least expect it. I don't like those lasers. Crazy how long range those lasers are. Like, the moment you see them, the King Vulture might show up immediately, or maybe it'll take like 10 seconds. Okay, didn't do a double jump there. I meant to. Alright. It is kind of nice when you lose a run, but then the next run that you do is better. You knew that if you did like get to the end in the last run, then you wouldn't have as good of a time as you could get. Good thing I didn't actually beat that run, or else my record would be like 20 seconds slower. Maybe not 20 seconds, but that's not too much. At least for Rain World. I never see a dropper here, even though that's usually where I see one. There they are. Maybe they'll catch a bat fly. That's the movement I was going for. It's not ideal. I'm a little worried that one of these Cyan Lizards is going to no longer be scared. Because they've been jumping around for a while now. Might be interested in trying to hunt me now. I sure hope I don't see any scavengers here. Interesting sound they made right there. I thought they were gonna jump off. They do that sometimes. They're scared of someone, they just like run off a cliff. Not too many white lizards, surprisingly. I mean, they're probably spread out a lot more, but... Oh, great. I don't even know if we can make this jump. I don't think I'm gonna... Well, maybe if they all move out of the way, then I have to fight them now. Like, what is this? Somehow I didn't die there. He doesn't have a spear. He now has a spear. I'm not dead somehow again. Wow. Yeah, time loss, but... Wow. Keep in mind that there's a chance that the scavengers there just don't show up. So if anyone wants to, if I do get a time, if I finish this run, and if you want to beat the record, then just don't see scavengers there. That's my advice. Scavs are bad at killing him in the crawl spaces. Really? I wasn't expecting them to throw a spear at any time. I suppose if they just kind of struggle with that. But now we are about to go into an area that's definitely not. Scavengers that are much better at dealing with. I'm very excited. Crazy. So there's the time save that I was looking for. Just don't see any scavengers. But getting back here again so quickly after last attempt, or at the last good attempt, like that's pretty good. That's a lot better consistency. Although I don't know if it's consistency or just luck. I feel like there were a bunch of places where I definitely could have died. Now we are back here. That white lizard made me get stuck in that tunnel. Or on the pipe exit. You know, I've been going for risky strats this whole time, every time I attempt Artificer speedruns. But I think that this... You know, I don't want to be playing Artificer forever. I actually do want to move on to the other slug cats, so... I think that maybe, depending on how the rest of these runs go, especially this one right now, I may decide to take a safety shelter around the end. I still want to go for the shelter list, like see if I can just make it to the, just to complete the speedrun without taking any unnecessary shelters. But then, you know, if it drags on too long and I can't get a good attempt going, or I can't get to the end without dying, I'll just take a shelter just to get the runs over with, you know. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that the runs are... Okay. Time lost with parry there. Just because I, like, take a safety shelter doesn't mean that I'm going to beat the run. But then Gourmand, I have. It's not on speedrun.com yet. It's in the process of getting verified. That should eventually show up, but I think it is the world record. I don't think anyone else has been running Gourmands that much, so it's not that hard to get a world record, but now also, oh great. Stand up. I can't believe I'm not dead. I know that my gourmand time can be improved. I might return to it eventually. But I think I really want to make a guide for gourmand, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to run gourmand. I don't want to do speedrun because I don't want to deal with stamina. But stamina isn't really that bad once you learn how it works. And it only took like a day for me to like figure out how stamina works and like changing my playstyle to work around it. And then just after that day, like I always enjoyed gourmand a lot more, just from learning a little bit about stamina. So I might kind of make a guide video to encourage more people to try the speedrun. That's a scavenger? I thought that was a blue lizard. Gourmand's jump button is a resource, yep. Do not just jump whenever you want, like with the other characters. That kind of sounds ridiculous at first, but there's ways to get around it. And, you know, there are still situations where you have to jump. You know, actually, now that I know that scavengers aren't that dangerous in tunnels, I'm probably just gonna... Really? The vulture grabbed the centipede, got stunned, and then landed on me, and immediately tried to kill me. And I didn't want to parry them, because then I wouldn't have enough double jumps to make it through the rest of that room. Unfortunate. I was considering making an explosive spear in advance. I guess I should have done that. But yeah, for gourmand, the best way to move in general is at the end of the run. There's plenty of hard parts after that where I died. So, but it was that's the last region of the run. For gourmand, you basically want to make use of your roll whenever possible, because you roll faster than you walk, and it is very stamina efficient. And it can get over like small bumps in the ground that you would usually jump over. That means you have to reset, yes. It doesn't mean that you have to reset. If you want, you can take a few shelters so that you can, you know, keep going if you die. It's kind of a self-imposed challenge to try to do this speedrun without any unnecessary shelters. But I'd rather not like return to this run. I'd rather not get a run where I take safety shelters, knowing that I could improve it later. You know, I don't want to come back to this category, really. Is sliding ever a good idea? Definitely. It's about as bad as it could have gone. I mean, red lizard there, so automatically wasn't that great. So you basically just want to roll whenever possible, and only jump when you like have to, and really get used to just not spamming jump, because you kind of can do that as any other character. But sliding, the thing is that starting a slide uses stamina, and then jumping out of the slide also uses stamina. So let's say, you know, if there's a long like stretch of ground to slide across, and you don't need to jump after the slide, then like go ahead. The problem is that if you don't jump out of the slide, you know, there's a bit of lag, right? You don't move very quickly if you don't jump out of it. So if you slide into a pipe or a tunnel, then you don't, like, the loss of speed doesn't matter because it cancels the slide, right? So if you're going into something, do a slide to do that, but just like sliding and then doing a slide pounce afterwards for speed, I wouldn't say it's better than doing a roll. Even if it's faster, you're going to lose time by having to recover stamina later. Hey, I need that. And of course, the vulture is perfectly lined up for me to grab a vulture mask. I don't think I ever see scavengers past this point. The main problem with shelters is a few reasons. There's a lot to it. There's rarely a situation where there's a shelter perfectly on the route. There is some amount of like a detour that you have to take to get to the shelter in the first place. Plus having to get food, of course. But also the main problem is that if you're taking a shelter, that means you're expecting to die. Like, just in case I die, I will go back to the shelter and so I can continue, right? But that's an extra time loss. Dying and returning. I feel like if I died far away from a shelter, I'd want to restart anyway. So might as well just skip the shelter anyway if I'm not going to use it. But if anyone is interested in even like the idea of speedrunning Artificer, definitely take shelters. You're still alive? Climb. Okay. Of course, now there's extra scavengers past this point. Like, there's a shelter right before the scavenger toll. I recommend taking that shelter because you're probably going to die to the toll. It's probably going to take a few attempts, so you might as well. I don't like dropping scavenger there. It's probably going to take a few attempts, and you're going to lose a lot of time, but you might as well do it just to finish a run. Hello, leech. And like, you know, even if you get used to taking shelters, you're still going to be able to get time saves by not dying as much. But my goal is basically just to skip that process. Like setting a time with shelters and then totally like getting better times by not dying as much. I'd rather just like do a deathless run from the start. And that does mean that I've spent a lot more attempts on Artificer just to finish a run, but hopefully that when I do finish a run, it's like a good run that I'll be happy with staying as my record for a long time. Yeah, I actually feel like pretty much exactly the same way about Artificer. Fun character, but not... A lot of things are not fun about them. That's kind of an unfortunate part about Downpour. For me, is that every character is cool in some way and then really not cool in some other way. Because when I like first learned about Artificer's abilities, I was thinking they would be a perfect character for hunting. For hunting like vultures, Merospurs, green lizards, you know, red lizards. Artificer would be the perfect character to fighting up against those like creatures with a lot of extra health. You know, you'd actually want to use the explosive spears. Instead, you fight against scavengers, and none of your weapons are even like that useful. Like grenades can help in some situations, but it often just takes too much effort to create the grenades and to find a good place to use them. So you end up just using spears. So you don't end up using like of course the double jumps and the parries, they help. Yeah, I just don't like fighting scavengers as much as befriending them. I should not jump as late as I do there. Then I'm just hitting that big block. I have to jump over it anyway, so I might as well jump early and then jump when I first land on the platform. Also, the karma gates are annoying. Like, I think this speedrun would be a lot more fun if you didn't have to carry the scavenger body across half of the run. Of course, once you get past the wall, you no longer need to carry the scavenger, but it means that, like, the reason I have the vulture mask is because I have to carry the scavenger. If I didn't need the scavenger, I don't think I would need the vulture mask, because I could have weapons. I could fight the lizards I come across. But I feel like you kind of need the vulture mask just to be able to run past them easily. Of course, you have to parry too, but then if you have to parry a lot, you aren't able to use as many double jumps for movement. I suck at slide constants. I mean, I understand like bringing the scavenger bodies is, I think it's to encourage combat. I imagine that some players would think, oh, if I don't want to fight the scavengers, I'll just befriend them instead and not play by the campaign's rules. But then requiring you to bring scavenger bodies with you through gates kind of says, hey, you need to fight the scavengers. There's no option. There is an option. If you have Jolly Co-op on, you can play Survivor's campaign, Monks, and Hunters. You can play all those campaigns as whatever character you want. As Artificer, you're still going to have to fight scavengers, though. Because the low I did not dodge them. And you can do that in single player. But the low scavenger reputation is just a part of Artificer as a character and not a part of the campaign. Although you might not find as many like kill squads. I don't know, it's something weird about global reputation. Playing Artificer's campaign, this monk gets set. So maybe if you play their campaign, they set the reputation low. But I know that I've played Artificer in other campaigns, trying to befriend scavengers, that did not work at all. No karma. So it's probably a mix, right? They would want to set the Artificer's campaign just to make it easy, set scavenger reputation low. But it's also just a property of Artificer. It's not good moving there. I use a keyboard. Hello. No, I'm gonna try to. There's a scavenger, or if a vulture shows up, I'm gonna try to kill them over here because I found that that's a lot easier too. Oh man, why does this always have to happen? I thought that's pretty much just fast pole climbing. That's easier on keyboard. But like, there's good players who play with the controller. It just seems that, I mean, fast pole climbs are really important for movement. It makes any vertical section a lot faster. I didn't see their karma level. Okay, don't do that there. I really don't like the start of the run. What are the requirements for 100%? Usually it's everything that you do in the main story, plus all passages. I have no idea what it is for Artificers, because they have 2 endings that are maybe like mutually exclusive. So you probably just do like all passages and then you go do the regular ending. And it probably also involves, well, you can't see Moon as Artificer, so that's not part of it, but for other campaigns you try to see both iterators and anything that has to do with the iterators, like bringing neurons to Moon. So that's something that you have to do. All pearls. Here, take a pearl, dude. Why does the second vulture always have to show up? You can't have that mask. Okay, good start. Waiting, yep, there's the red lizard. Just about to say. Maybe an interesting category would be just grabbing all the pearls, but not really doing anything with them. Because like bringing them all the way over to Moon or collecting them in a single shelter sounds like a problem. But if it was just like going around the map and picking up the pearls once, like not even carrying them around, just to grab, just like touch them once, that might be a fine category. But I don't even know if that's like a real thing. Absolutely understandable if you don't want to speedrun this game. It's actually kind of an awful game to speedrun. I don't know if I should be saying this, because you know the whole speedrunning community kind of wants to encourage more people to join, because it's quite empty. But it's understandable because people play this game casually and they're like, that was fun, but I never want to touch it again. And then actually speedrunning it means that you have to deal with all of a bunch of the worst parts of the game. Not really the worst parts. Because, you know, there's parts of this game that are really good on their own, like the just the way creatures work in general. It's great, you know, kind of like one of the more important parts of the game. Kind of realistic feeling ecosystem. But then once you're speedrunning, it's no longer a good thing because those creatures might get in your way. So that happens a lot where there's a part of the game that's really good on its own, but not great for speedrunning. It's like that makes sense, you know, this game isn't meant to be rushed through. Like patience. Oh wow. Oh wow. Why did the spears bounce? Patience is a really important part of this game, I think. There's a lot of situations where the best way to deal with it is just to wait it out. I think like that's good for the game on its own when playing casually. It's like waiting for a dangerous creature to move past kind of gives you the feeling of like actually being scared of this like dangerous predator in the wild and like trying to hide away from it by using your small size to your advantage. But that all goes out the window with when you try to speedrun it. There are a handful of speedruns that aren't too bad. Like Artificer is particularly difficult. I would not recommend starting with Artificer unless you really like, if you really like the character, go ahead. Okay, minor slowdown there. Ran Pebbles percent once, they never want to do it again. Oh, great. Never come back. Really just grinding for good RNG. That is an unfortunate reality of speedrunning this game. Something that actually helped a lot for my motivation with speedrunning, which unfortunately does not apply to Artificer at all, but for like most other categories that aren't too like based on creatures. So if you practice, that's a scavenger. But what I like to do is practice speedruns with a mod that disables creatures. And it means that you can just focus on the movement on its own. And honestly, if that's all you want to do for speedruns, just without creatures, go ahead, but you're not going to be able to submit anything to the leaderboards. But what it means is that you can practice a speedrun with no creatures and get really good at it so that when you do an actual run without the mod, when you do have to deal with creatures, you're not going to make as many movement mistakes. And the only thing they have to worry about is the RNG with the creatures. No, I realized that was going to happen. Luckily, there are no consequences. Because when you're doing speedrun attempts, there's multiple ways you can make mistakes in the run. You can have bad encounters with creatures that slow you down or kill you and end the run. Or you can make movement mistakes like falling off a cliff in some more dangerous areas. I want your head. Not. Yeah, multiple vultures. So when you're doing actual attempts, you know, you can make any sort of mistake. But if you use the mod to disable creatures when practicing, you can get really good at the movement and make sure that you like very rarely make mistakes. That because you just lose a lot of time, you know. So then when you do actual attempts, it's only the creature RNG that you have to worry about. Those videos are satisfying to watch. Maybe once you've actually like completed a full run and you're just watching that. I don't know how enjoyable it is to watch live attempts. You guys can tell me that. Dev tools %, I've thought about it. I have gotten pretty good at moving around with dev tools. Is the Gourmand speedrun on any platform like YouTube? If you look at my previous streams, I have a YouTube channel. You can find stream VODs on there. Oh, great. I really prefer if you didn't. And watch the, just look for I think the most recent Gourmand stream. Okay, I'm just not gonna wait around for this. At some point during the most recent Gourmand speedrun stream that I did, you should be able to find the full run. I think it also should be during or around the end of the stream. Modded slugs? I don't know about that. I mean, maybe not the official leaderboards, but maybe maybe like extended categories, or it's its own like whole leaderboards of like modded runs. But of course, since they're mods, they're going to be run much less often. I am kind of interested in some characters speedruns, like the Outsider, the one with wings. That sounds kind of fun to speedrun. The Gourmand combat video, yeah, in quotation marks. Something that I'm really not a fan of when it comes to Rainwell speedruns is how long it takes for a run to get verified on speedrun.com. When I was speedrunning Rivulets, at some point I looked on speedrun.com and I noticed that someone had beaten my record. That was when my record was around 33 minutes. And they had beaten my record by about a minute with 32. I think that's what their time is. And I looked at the video attached to their time on the leaderboard, and that video was uploaded like 2 weeks ago. So it took me 2 weeks to find out about this time this speedrun that broke my record, because it used completely different strategies. So I could have spent those 2 weeks practicing those new strategies to beat the time back, but there was a 2-week delay on it. And it also means that I'm much less motivated to submit runs immediately. Because like, why, like if I get a decent time, it's not the best time I could have gotten, like why bother submitting it if it's going to take like so long to get verified? Because I'm probably going to beat that time within those 2 weeks that it takes to get verified. Just gonna wait around here. Oh, waiting for the perfect opportunity, I see. Hey, come back. Okay, alternate strat. I'm pretty sure red centipedes can't mask vultures. There's so many dead vultures in this room. That's another unfortunate thing about speedruns. You're always going to hear the same music every single attempt. The song that plays at the beginning of the gutter is the song that I've heard way too much. Because you always go there in the beginning of a Ravenlit speedrun. How many of you guys are there? Goodness. Well, at least I have backup if the vulture grabs a scavenger here. If a vulture shows up. That's the next question. Hello. Okay. That did take about 20 seconds longer than it should have. But we're actually moving. A Saint Speedrun that aims to touch the ground as little as possible. Like an actual like challenge, like see how long you can go without touching the ground. Or just trying to touch the ground as little as possible. Because that probably doesn't exist, but there has been Saint Speedruns. Drop wig. Just a little bath. Not a problem. It might depend on the character. Like maybe there's a random chance that you die to acid, and Artificer is more resistant to it. I feel like if I was playing Monk, I'd just die instantly to any amount of acid touching. Just Artificer has extra time to get out of acid. I mean, it does help in that room. I mean, they don't have to, like, just accidentally falling in is not the end of the run. It's nice after getting past the start of garbage wastes. Hello, scavengers. And a king vulture. You should grab that green lizard. It has a lot more. It's a lot more food for you. For some reason the music likes to bug out like that. Little egg bug. Is that egg bug like, okay, there's egg bug, squidcada. How many like non-aggressive creatures are there in this run? I think Randall could really use the more non-predators. Excuse me. You're not allowed. Like, noodle flies are some of my favorite creatures just because they're not always trying to kill you. Sometimes they're just there to hang out. Certainly an interesting quantity of blizzards. Oh, all of them are right in this room. Acid uses up double jump charges? That's interesting. I suppose that kind of makes sense, I guess. Kind of involuntarily causes you to double jump, which also saves you from the acid. Okay, well, I got here. This is not like the best pace, but just pay attention to the drop wigs. I thought that that side punch there could actually line up properly, but I guess it doesn't. Excuse me. Okay, there is a drop wig, so I will fall off this pole. And then proceed to fail to jump off of it. There's only a few creatures in this room. See, I'm just gonna run into a king vulture right now. There's the threat music. I should just go into this pole or this pipe. Why are you doing this? Oh, they're aiming at the blue lizard, so I don't have to worry. No, there are two of them at the same exact time. That's fun. GG. Thank you. That room sucks. It really does. A lot of time for a vulture to get you at any point in the run or in the room. You know, I can see why people wouldn't want to run Artificer. It makes sense. But people have been speedrunning Rain World for a long time. I don't see how Artificer's not much worse. Like, some hunter categories are especially awful. Oh, great. Wow. I really just saved them from my own explosive spear. Well, alternate strat time. I know there's another vulture right here, but Now we get to hear this song again. I would appreciate it if there was some sort of feature that prevented songs from playing multiple times in a row. If you're like on the same save file. Because obviously we're resetting the run, or resetting the game in between attempts. But, you know, maybe if it just like saved somewhere else. Okay, the song just played like 2 minutes ago, we shouldn't play it again. A very square grenade right there. Really? No karma again. Wonder if the song's immediately gonna start playing again if it gets to that point. So I just noticed in the drawings in the background here, there is kind of a 10 karma level or max karma symbol in the center of that big circle. That's interesting. Although it could just be an X. It doesn't actually mean anything, so why would the scavengers know? I almost threw them away. I got so used to that. Actually, that's enough karma. He gave as many rolls as I wanted. Now everyone's favorite part of the run, getting stunned. Oh, grab the head. Yeah, that's always the hardest part for me, just grabbing onto the right part to bite it off. There we go. And it definitely is the easier to do that on that like left side of the room. Just gonna leave the scavenger behind. Yeah, just not feeling it. I'm gonna go after the slug cat instead because some variables told me to. No, there's plenty of ways I could have saved that. That was not the best way. It's not over yet. Nope, I don't want the drop wood. Not great, but I guess we're still going. Playing the scavenger all over the place. I think there is a specific part of their body that you want to grab onto. That's closest to their center. It is satisfying to do this room properly, though. Nothing in this room. Quite rare. Where are the scavengers? Not here. Always weird, and there's not as many creatures as you expect. You know, that's just kind of how this game is sometimes. Is this the only pink lizard we see in the whole run? There's not many of them. Please. It's just you have to be going through that right there. Luckily, once the red lizard is behind you, they're not really going to slow you down. If they're in front of you, they might like slow you down enough so that you fall into the pit to get grabbed. But if they're behind, they might just push you forward. Okay, I guess here's another pink lizard. Alright, back here. What am I doing after Artie? I have no idea when you typed that message. Because the chat was not updating. I'm probably... I mean, Spearmaster, right? That doesn't sound great to go from one awful speedrun to another. But there are some things I plan on doing before... Well, I don't know if it would be before Spearmaster, but... I won't just be focusing on Spearmaster, because I think I want to... I might also look at some mods, and there's like some other speedrun categories that I'm trying out 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Excuse me. Since the chat just does not update and I don't see messages for a while. I should always check for the drop over there. But there's a bunch of like kind of strange categories that I'm interested in trying out, and that I have already practiced a bit too, like Gourmand to any %, as well as some like mixed runs. Is that a good way to explain it? Doing like campaigns as the wrong characters essentially. So I'm trying out Survivor's Pebbles % run, but as rivulets. And I might look into a few other combinations that might be interesting. But I currently don't know how to do campaigns as like downpour campaigns as the wrong character, because with Jolly Co-op you could play Survivor, Monks, and Hunters campaigns as any character you want, but not the downpour campaigns. Maybe there's a way in expedition mode, but I feel like expedition mode would kind of mess up a few things. Why are you here? I mean, I know why you're here. Villagers are here all the time. You usually don't see them in a run. Is there one in the tunnel? No. That was the same one from earlier. Unless... You've seen the lasers. Okay, they're not in the tunnel. Goodness. Yeah, I definitely want to take a break from the more difficult speedruns after completing Artificers. If I go straight into Speedmaster, it's going to be more dying a lot to difficult creature spawns. Luckily at Speedmaster you don't have to carry a scavenger around, but then you have to carry a pearl around, so is it really that much better? And then after Speedmaster, it will be Saint's 30%, which I've already done an 8% run. And I do enjoy it. It is quite long. There's plenty of places you can make mistakes as well as Rubicon, but I enjoy Saint's movement a lot more. And, you know, you're not always dealing with really difficult creatures, and for the most part you have movements to avoid it, and unlike Artificer, it's not on a timer, you know. Technically, you could use parries and explosive jumps to get around every situation, but that's only if you have enough explosive stamina. You're not overheating, I suppose is the correct term. Okay, I really did want to fall all the way back down here. And then after that, after Saint, I'm probably not going to be doing as much Rain World. I really want to branch off into other games at that point. I'll still be playing Rain World. Anytime there's like a speedrunning event, I want to try to join those kind of things. Anytime there's an interesting mod that I want to check out, or an update to the game, you know, any of that kind of stuff, I will still be around. I'll still be interested in Rain World, but not like, it's not, I definitely won't be like every single stream is Rain World. I already have a few plans of things that I want to do, but that's, oh gosh, I keep messing up wall jumps. There's some things that I want to try out. Are there scavengers? Not yet. Sure, I'm still holding the scavenger. You don't need to do that. That's why I was struggling with the wall jumps, because you don't usually... Don't throw that rock at me. Thank you. Willy Games, you'll see. That's an unfortunate time loss, though. I just forgot that you can just drop the scavenger once you enter the wall. And I did that whole segment a bit slower than I usually do it. Especially with the wall jumps. But I was still able to move, like, it's pretty much just wall jumps I feel like are affected. And most like regular movement isn't really that much different with a scavenger. So hopefully it's not that big of a deal. I'm already not happy about this. We've seen some very blue scavengers recently. No, we've just been seeing a lot of scavengers. And some of them are blue. Are there scavengers here? Last attempt, that I got here, there just weren't any scavengers at all. I guess that makes up for the fact that, you know, in this attempt I didn't see any scavengers in the earlier rooms, or not enough to slow me down. But I guess if there's no scavengers here, either that also it's a time save. Yeah. Alright, just get lucky. That's my advice for this run. I think that's the only place in the whole run where you get to do an EI hop. So you don't have a mask and you don't have a scavenger. And there's enough space for you to do it. I think you can also do it before the Scav King fight, but that usually doesn't happen. It's getting to the point where I may consider taking a shelter before the end. But I'd really rather not. I thought that was a scavenger. So what is it, like 15 seconds that you lose from just taking a shelter alone? Plus time that you need to spend getting food. Plus the time to get to the shelter, which takes a little bit because there's kind of some awkward terrain you have to maneuver around to get to that shelter. Plus, you'd only want to take the shelter if you're probably going to die in the next section, which means another like minute or two, like getting back to the point where you died. And then that's if you don't die a second time, so. Is it really worth taking the shelter? Because that's kind of what you're expecting, to lose like 2-3 minutes. But of course, what you get is actually being able to complete the run. So I don't know. I guess you can do one there too. No scavengers? Just kidding. There are scavengers. That was terrifying. It still is. Okay, I didn't like that accidental parry. I don't like that if you just press jump and grab at the same time, it defaults to a parry. Even if you're not holding any directions. I feel like it should only parry if you hold down. But you don't do it. You don't do it accidentally. Okay, I like that they left immediately. It was almost not good fun. It's almost got grabbed by a grapple worm there. Goodbye, Vulture Mask. I'm not going back there to grab it. There's a few spots where that's important. Oh, I didn't want to hit the lizard. Actually, I guess it helps because I no longer have a mask. Have an amazing run and lose it to a grapple worm. That's happened in practice before. When I was starting from the first shelter Metropolis, I've gotten grabbed by a grapple worm. Why am I here? I want to jump over them. Okay, that's not good. I wonder if a vulture is going to body slam me this run. Actually do something here. Like that. Save an explosive jump. So you want to use some right here. To get up that. Will there be a drop wig right here? Nope. It's an egg bug. These were the grapple worms that got me. That's the drop wig. There's the spear. I really don't like this room. If there's scavengers in it. Oh, actually kill it. That's like one of 2 drop wigs in this area. Okay, there's the second one. Goodness. They were just in attack mode. That's a scavenger, just chilling, hanging out. I should have kept that. Okay, there's another rock, but that could have been bad. Also, I cannot slide pounce for whatever reason. There's a shelter down there. I'm going to skip it. I cannot afford to have a dangerous creature in this area. Harry actually saved the run. I did it. Why are you here? I have a strategy for the Scab King. Why is there... Why is there a scavenger in here? I've literally never seen a scavenger just hanging out right there. Maybe they were the new Scab King. That's what would happen if the Scab King wasn't like standing up on that platform. They were just camping you. I threw a spear at him too. Like if I just threw it at a slightly different angle, it would have hit them. I probably should. I mean, I didn't know that there could be a scavenger there at all. Well, I had no. I didn't. I could have died to the Scav King after that anyway. There wasn't a guarantee victory at that point. Time to die to vultures for the next 5 minutes. Imagine a slugcat saves your life and then they become a vulture. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I can't believe I'm not dead. Of course, I dropped the scavenger here. Blizzard boost. New tech. Not new tech. Sometimes there's situations where creatures do actually speed you up a little bit. It's never ever reliable. I guess it's nice, you know, in this attempt I can remember to drop the scavenger at the wall. It would be kind of weird if there was an obvious mistake like that in a world record, right? Wait for the red lizard to pass. At least once it gets to that point, you're pretty safe to go. Lizard's trying to use one brain cell to run away from the vulture and the other brain cell to grab the scavenger. I'm glad that they triggered the drop wig. I would not like to deal with that myself. And of course, I still have to end up dealing with it later. Go through. I guess there are a few pink blizzards in this run. I think that if you go through the pipes in that room, there's a slightly lower chance of a vulture showing up since you're spending more time sealed. I have no idea how it works. Like if a vulture can see you and when they decide to come down. Drop the scavenger. You don't need him at this point. Got that spear. Would it really be the wall if there weren't a few lizards falling from the sky? I would like to find a single spear in this whole region. These wall jumps are certainly a lot easier without scavenger in the way. Don't mind me. It's angry now. It is kind of nice when all the white lizards are right here, that you don't have to worry about them later. I don't know if I can do another. Nope. They've just waited. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm not going to be talking that much right now. I want to focus on getting a good time. Then I'm only like 40% through the difficult stuff. Actually, probably less than that, like 30%. Thank you for all that. Wow, that's terrifying. I've never seen a scavenger turn around that fast. Should they be checking the map? I say before not checking the map at all. I like that Pebbles is a bit of a break. There's nothing dangerous in this area and the movement is pretty easy. It's a nice break from all the combat where the run might end at any moment. I actually went through that pipe so perfectly that it didn't even give me the double jump back. I know that the world record isn't that good. The thing is that I know that a lot of players have gotten good attempts that failed at the end. It's pretty common in this category. So the world record is just the only run where they didn't die at the end. So it's not that hard to compete against. You can just go for the risky strategies. It's not really about a world record, it's just kind of about finish grip run that I'm happy with. Always expect a lizard there. Okay. Given enough attempts, there eventually be a run that gets a singularity bomb. That's such an incredibly low chance. Not only a low chance, but also to actually grab the singularity bomb after you see it. I don't know if anyone wants to play this category enough for that to even be a possibility. But it would make the boss very easy. Even if I did see a singularity bomb, I don't think I would want to risk going in to try to grab it unless it was like a pile of dead scavengers. Like a single alive scavenger is like incredibly scary at that point of the run. I suppose maybe if you found a lone elite scavenger with like a singularity bomb, you like earlier in the run, you could store in your stomach. 1 in 200. Okay, that's not as low as I thought it would be. Yeah, there's not many elites in a run, so that's incredibly low. But it could happen. Just make sure that you know where to throw it from, and that you don't kill yourself in the explosion. Funny thing is that if you spawn an elite scavenger in sandbox mode, they have a much higher chance to have a singularity bomb for some reason. So I've seen so many of them in sandbox mode, but never in an actual game. Good thing I was paying attention there. That was a little scary. You've seen it 3 times? Okay. I've literally not seen it a single time in all of these attempts. Yeah, it's probably more likely if you're just like running around casually and not doing a speedrun, or like specifically looking for elites, but yeah, I've never seen one. Although Artificer is not my most played character. And one of those times was in an arena, yeah, that doesn't really count. Excuse me, Centipede. Yeah, I don't think they have any spears. Oh, come on. I'm not happy about seeing that shadow. Okay, it's a regular... Okay. That could have been a lot worse. I'm actually going to make a grenade right now. It's a pretty safe location. I'll keep it in my stomach. I'm making a few mistakes here and there. Drop a good alert. I got scavenger alert too, goodness. I hate doing accidental parries. It's the same as like a few explosive jumps worth of stamina. Let's just not risk that at all, you know? There's another one. I cannot do slides at this point in the run for some reason. Don't make an explosive spear, I don't need it. I'd say that once you get to that room, you're about like 60% done with the run. The other 40% is those last like 3 rooms. But do you see, like, there were 3 spears coming at me at the same exact time? I considered double grenade strategy. But I feel like whenever I tried it, it actually just didn't work out. But whenever there is just a grenade on the floor and I pick it up, it seems to work better. But that's just random. The current world record goes through that room. Actually, the current world record is extremely cleaner on the end. And that's why it's world record, even though their movement isn't that impressive. They just get through those hard rooms very efficiently. I don't know if they take the shelter or not, though. Excuse me. Oh, you have a good run going? Nope. Red centipede. What do I even do in this scenario? I know what I do. Die. The bottom path is like a few minutes slower. If you want to complete a run, I recommend that path. This run is kind of the example of exactly what you shouldn't do if you actually want to have fun playing this category. Why? Just a toe and a Scav King with a 20-minute run back. Yep. That's a good explanation for it. And plus like 1 minute of fighting vultures at the beginning. Don't forget about that part. And those are the parts of the run that I've practiced the most. Just doing the toll a bunch, doing the Scav King a bunch. I think if I actually got to the Scav King and I didn't die to that scavenger that came out of nowhere, I would have been able to finish that run. So I feel like Scav King is easier. There's still a chance of dying to it, of course. I don't know where the scavenger went. They're over there. Mask. It is worth checking this room every once in a while. There's one angry red lizard. Okay, I didn't get any of those rolls. Probably do a roll coming out of that pipe. Wow, that's probably the fastest I've done this start. Funny when looking at other games that people actually enjoy speedrunning. Well, okay, speedruns in this game are fun too, but a game that's fun to speedrun for like a wide audience instead of just a very small community. Eventually, like a well-optimized speedrun gets to the point where like people are shaving off a few seconds, or even less than that. Like, wow, a world record by like 0.1 seconds. Better upload that to speedrun.com. But then in Rain World, it's like, oh wow, a world record of like 2 minutes. Of course, in a more I mean, even like in Pebbles percent, the world record is like 2 minutes ahead of most other runs. Oh, really? But Pebbles percent is not the most optimized category. That would be any percent. And I don't really know what the leaderboards look like there. But it's not like super close. It's not like a few seconds between the top spots. Rainbow's just a really hard game to optimize perfectly. This is fun. Get away from me. What's my Pebbles percent PB? It's, I don't remember what the time is. I think it is on speedrun.com. You can't look at the downpoured leaderboards. It's on the base game leaderboards. My username there is also Regon. Three seconds apart. Okay, so the very top of the leaderboard is like pretty competitive. Then it falls off pretty quickly. And any percent is like probably one of the lower or the less RNG categories. I think the most RNG in that run is like some lizards at the beginning and then like some mole lizards infiltration system. And after that, it's all like consistent, right? So that makes sense. Oh, spitter spider. Dead spitter spider. Or spitter spider that caught spider. Or a lizard. I think I'm not holding them properly. There we go. So it's usually very unrealistic to like optimize runs as much as they could be. I think that the Rivulet's story percent is one of the runs that could be optimized pretty well. Because there's a bunch of creatures at the start of the run. But there are ways to get around that. And they're not like... It's also like kind of luck based. Like sometimes they don't show up and you get lucky. But then after that, there's not really any creatures that are that bad. Not as horrible as like most other categories. Like there's a DLL that's kind of annoying and underhang. And I guess the rest of exterior is not that great, but there's not that much else. funny thing is that that record is, or my PB is still 2 minutes slower than the world record. Although that is, I have not played Survivor much, honestly. After Downpour, I mostly focused on improving movement down other characters like Rivulets and Gourmand, and now Artificer, of course. That's a Karma Flower. I've seen way too many Karma Flowers from Dropwigs, even though it's a pretty low chance. I guess there's just a lot of Dropwigs on this route, huh? Like I never practiced depth that much for Survivor. Like I've done it like a few times extra, but I never really deliberately practiced movement in specific rooms. Because you can do like extended slides and extended instant hops a lot in depth, but because of the weird properties of that place, it often the timing is harder. It's different than doing it normally. So if I like actually practiced like doing EI hops in the depths, then I could improve my time a lot just from that. Also, it's about to rain, so that might make the, I don't know if the scavengers stick around if it's raining. Have you seen my speedrun of Gourmand? 40%. It's not that optimized. I think there's about 2 minutes that can be saved from that run. Can you make that jump when the rain is? Yeah, you can. It's definitely easiest as Artificer. It's also like somewhat consistent as Rivulets, and apparently it's a possible as Hunter, but extremely difficult. Okay, I didn't want to risk what happened last time. I also don't like that shadow thing. I'd like if I didn't see any scavengers at all. So yeah, I have a Gourmand. Okay, there's scavengers. I think that's an elite. What is this? It's on my channel. It's one of the live streams. Okay, is this really how this is gonna work? This lizard is super stuck. Okay. I have to do this. Also just happened to be using an electric spear. This is not a good time. Or not a good... Hello, scavenger, but you weren't expecting that. Uh-oh. That's a pretty significant time loss. So I guess the pattern stays where when it's nighttime, elite scavengers come out. Like the new daylight cycle. Kind of cool. But it's annoying for speedruns, because as you just saw there, elite scavengers can show up, slow you down a lot. As Survivor, Cyan Lizards show up, and it's also just dark, so you can't see as well. If you're doing public percent, that might happen, but only if you have downpour enabled. I think it's really good in Outer Expanse. Very like atmospheric and not too consequential. No, speedruns on speedrun.com take like 2 to 3 weeks to get verified for some reason. I remember on my YouTube recommended page, I saw a speedrun for Tears of the Kingdom that was like world record. And I went to speedrun.com for Tears of the Kingdom and the run was up. Like, it took only like a single day to get that run verified. Why does it take so long for Rain World? I mean, obviously there's not as many like moderators for Rain World. There's also not as many runners, right? So it kind of balances out. I don't know if the ratio is different. Maybe there's a lot more people who can verify runs compared to the amount of runners for like Tears of the Kingdom, or like most of their speedrunning games probably. But it has been quite a while since I did that Gourmand run, so it shouldn't take that long for it to get verified. It might happen in like within the next few days. It's kind of, I mean, most people probably don't know about that run because it's like a random live stream that I did like a few weeks ago. I wasn't exactly like telling people about it. But once it's on the leaderboards, people will be like, I wonder if anyone's done a Gourmand Sphere, and we'll see that run. There's 6 moderators, yeah. I mean, world record is a very loose term when there's only one other speedrun that's like 3 hours long. So technically it is world record, but anyone could easily beat it. Also, I feel like world record is the wrong term for it, because like, how many people are playing Rain World really? I think it's like a community record. Like, out of all the Rain World players, this is the best run that has been done. Because for like a Nintendo game, for example, it's so like popular and well known that like anyone can play it. So world record is like, oh wow, that's important. But for Rain World, it's such a small community that it's like you're only competing with like a few other people. But yeah, I get it. World record is the word for it. I don't know why I always mess up this whole climb. Like, it's totally understandable. Like, I don't expect those like 2 moderators who actually verify runs to always be looking for runs to verify. They might be busy with all sorts of stuff. But then like, maybe there's people who want to do that. People who are more active in speedrunning who want to actually verify runs. But I should stop talking about that stuff. I need to focus on the run. Future, this will be my last attempt. Okay. You know, I actually did a bunch of challenges. Those were some of the first live streams that I did during the like Discord challenges, but I never really bothered with submitting them. But I completed a good amount of them. like you. Not the best game to speedrun, honestly. If this game was like Celeste, if Celeste had the same size community as Rain World, then there would still be a bunch of speedruns. Because Celeste is like a really good game for speedrunning. That almost slowed me down. So it's not like Rain World isn't like a super small game. A lot of people play this game and enjoy it a lot, and then they're like, okay, I'm never gonna touch speedrunning at all because it sounds awful. I understand that. Thank you, little centipede. You made the run a lot easier. I find it funny that these small centipedes look so big in pipes. Why are there so many? Actually, hello? And then Dropwig. After all that, throw a single spear. They're just gonna hit me, aren't they? Not happy with that, but we're gonna keep going. Remember, there's still like 40% of the run left. That's annoying. That was a mistake. Yep. Throwing down stunned myself. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's gonna be the end of the stream. I don't know if I want to return to this. Cause you all are probably tired of Artificer too. But it seemed like you know, it's just kind of luck, right? Any one of these streams I could have gotten the time and I would just send that's it. I was pretty confident with the last stream too. if I get world record to the stream ends. I was like, hey, what if the stream ends in like 30 minutes? That'd be cool. Yeah, but that would have been cool. Just get there one day. I don't know if there's a one day. And then just Spearmaster out of this. Like, do I really want to play Spearmaster? That's fine. Well, before I end the stream, there's a little thing that I want to mention. There is a speedrun event going on that will take place on, let me check real quick. July 8th, I think is the time. It'll be a speedrun marathon where I actually have no idea how it's going to work, but my assumption is that a bunch of speedrunners are going to submit their speedruns and they get to like play the speedrun live, or maybe we just watch the recording. I don't know how it will work. Yeah, a bunch of speedrunners will get to show off some interesting runs. They don't necessarily have to be official categories like story percent runs or any percent. You can just do whatever as long as it's interesting. And I will probably be in that event. I have a few speedruns planned, and I think I probably want to focus on those because they're more fun than Artificer. What I will stream in the meantime, I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll come up with something. So, thanks everyone for watching. That's going to be the end of the stream. Maybe I'll return to Artificer. Maybe I'll just take a break. And in like a week or so, I'll do more attempts, but I'll look into something else in the meantime. So yeah. See ya.